Before we start the video, I just want to tell you all, if none of you have seen so far, the day that I'm filming this, I've already shared a bunch of stuff on my Instagram, any news that we have on the situation. It's one of those, hey kids, if you ever think the government wouldn't do that, oh yes they would. Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil has been kidnapped by the United States government. The day that I'm filming this. So, any updates, by the time between when I'm filming this and when it's posted, any updates that I have will be on my Instagram, and I will also put infographics in this video. But yeah, so for anybody who's a fucking idiot, if they're not occupied and nothing's going on and we're just being foolish and Hamas has a great PR team, why are they kidnapping Palestinian journalists? Why do Mahmoud's attorneys have no idea where he is and have no way of contacting him? Riddle me fucking that. Also, speaking of Palestine and how we can help Palestinians, I still have my notes here. Rami's family has a goal of 75K, and Israel has completely stopped allowing aid trucks to get into Palestine and Gaza, so anything that is available, any kind of resources, food, clothing, medical supplies, anything like that, are going to be violently expensive now, more so than ever, especially because they are not allowing any more aid trucks. They're also cutting off electricity. So Rami's family has a final goal of 75K. Even if that cannot be used for evacuation at the moment, it can be used to help provide them with any resources that may be available to help them and their families survive. Same with Sajud's family, who has a final goal of 113,000, and I believe it's $390. I had to double check the notes. Same thing. It may not be the evacuation goal right now for Sajud and all of her family members, but right now it can be used to get resources that they are desperately going to need, especially with the electricity, the water cut off, no aid trucks coming in to provide any kind of help at all. So everybody that is alive in Palestine needs whatever we can do to help them. Even if we can get them a little bit of money at a time, like I said, my bite-sized goals that I've been trying to do here, even if we can get them a little bit of money at the time, even if we can do a day at a time of groceries and supplies that they need, that's better than fucking nothing. We need to do something. We need to do something. Hello Friendsies, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the aggressive tone shift. Hello, hello. This is gonna be a weirdly book-themed month. This was not my original intention. I was gonna do a couple book videos, but then I was gonna have photo card sorting at the end of this month. I've decided to postpone it slightly longer, so anybody that has ever come here for K-pop fun times and sorting photo cards, I'm sorry that they're 6 to 8 months in between each one. I'm so sorry. I also lied to you in the binder maintenance video saying that sorting photo cards would be out sooner. I've postponed it, again, because this month is weirdly book themed. I wanted to talk to you guys about what I've been reading lately, because for anybody who doesn't know, who may be new here, if this is your first video you're watching, hi, hello, welcome. If you're a piece of shit, get out. And you can tell by the beginning of the video, if you're a piece of shit or not. You know what I mean? So, if you haven't been here before, I'm a librarian now. I work in a library and I love it. It's probably my dream job, other than my dream job. So I'm having a lot of fun, and with being a librarian, it just makes me excited to be alive. On my days off, I'm actually happy to exist and be a person and not just wallow in self-pity and physical pain from my shitty retail job that treats me like garbage. If you want to hear me talk shit about my old shitty retail job, when did that come out? Not last week, the week before. I'll put a card up for it. But if you want to hear me talk shit about my old shitty retail job, enjoy, especially because that specific job has been in the news a lot lately, because they're pieces of shit. And now everybody knows, and it's not just me. Yay! Anyway, 5 minutes into this video, and I'm finally getting to what I'm trying to say. I want to talk about what I've been reading lately. Because being a librarian, I have gotten out of the weird reading slump that I have been in and out of for years, over 10 years at this point. Over 10 years at this point. When I was a senior in high school, I took 2 English classes and was reading like 6 books at a time for class and like personal time. And then I was depressed and then I worked in retail. You know what I mean? Like reading is not always easy. I can read a lot of fan fiction, but I cannot pick up a physical book sometimes. So I've been reading a lot lately and I have this cute little journal that one of my fucking coworkers from the library gave to me. Isn't that the cutest thing you've ever seen? It's like a pinky purple and I love it. So, I have 2 pages worth, well, almost 2 pages worth. I'm doing it from December to December 2024 to December 2025, because I'm like proud of myself from like how much I'm reading. And to be fair, a lot of these books are like children's books, like children's picture books like these, but like, you know what? It's still fucking reading. And also a lot of the people that we get at my library, like we have one of our library is one that gets like predominantly older people and predominantly children. Those are our main 2 demographics. Is that normal for other libraries? Or do some of you have like a young adult population that's like your main population? Let me know in the comments. So a lot of these are like children's picture books, but some of these are like actually fucking cool books that I ended up reading. And I don't know, I want to talk about them. Let's talk about books. Let's gab. If you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments. And let me know if you're a librarian, what your main, like, user base for your library is. So two of the books I've read that were kind of, like, I also don't have any of these books with me. We're going to have to put pictures up because they were all library books that I borrowed and then returned when I was done. These are books that I do want to buy, though. That's why I ended up writing them down, because I liked them and I wrote them down. These aren't all of the books I've been reading lately, because some of the books I read and I was like, okay, and I wouldn't want to read them again. Anyway, let's get into it. So 2 of the books I read are kind of like children's chapter books. You know what I mean? They're labeled like junior on the spine, but they passed by me in checking in books for the day. And I was like, that sounds really cute. So I really want to check them out. We have Sparrow Being Sparrow and The Cats of Silver Crescent. Don't know if it's the intention of the author. Both of those main characters are autistic as fuck. I felt so fucking seen. I felt so seen in those 2 main characters. I forgot The Cats of Silver Crescent. I forgot the main character's name, but it'll be here. But Sparrow is the main character of Sparrow Being Sparrow, and both of those children are autistic as fuck. I was like, hey, that sounds a lot like me when I was a kid. The dots are connecting. Oh my god, that's actually, I didn't even realize that. I wore this shirt today just because I haven't worn it in a while and it's like finally nice weather and I can wear short sleeves. Both of those books are centered around cats. That's so funny. Also, both of them are just very good. Sparrow Being Sparrow is like more realistic. The cats are not magical and fantastical in that book, but The Cats of Silver Crescent, those cats are magical and fantastical and I love them. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but I've been picking up, like, between, like, the children's picture books, chaptered books, and, like, a couple mangas and graphic novels, because I'm noticing that, like, kind of not just trying to bang through 4 or 5 books that are, like, 400 pages each is helping keep up the reading momentum. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I get really frustrated when I, like, read a really good book that I like, but it was so long, it just, like, took a lot out of me. So I've been reading, I'm not going to say this title right. I know I'm not. I read the first 2 volumes available, and I think more volumes are going to continue to be published this year. Maru and Hachi, The Polar Bear Cafe, which I hope there are more volumes of that eventually. I looked on Wiki, it says there's 5, but I can only find 4 unless 5 hasn't been published yet, or 5 is like a special edition thing. And My Happy Marriage. All of these are fantastic. Like, I'm gonna need a bigger manga shelf. This is literally a tiny square. Like, this is where it ends. This is where it ends. I'm gonna need a bigger shelf because I also, oh my god, I haven't read them yet. I have 1 to 5 here. I also got 6 through 10 of A Sign of Affection because I haven't finished that series yet. And also apparently more are being published. I fucking love manga, man. I'm obsessed. I still gotta finish the Godchild series. Let's not worry about that because I've been reading these. All of these are so good. I'm a shoujo manga girly, so those have all been like beautiful. Polar Bear Cafe is also the cutest fucking thing in the world, and they have this running joke where one of the characters will say something, and it's usually Polar Bear. It's usually the character Polar Bear. Somebody will say something, and then it's either words that sound the same or are like spelled very similarly, if not the same, in Japanese. And it'll be 2 or 3 pages of panels of the polar bear doing like puns, essentially, and somebody being like, he'll be like, oh yeah, revenge, and somebody will be like, no, that's ice skating, because then the polar bear will be like, oh, you mean ice skating? Like, it's hard to explain, but it makes me laugh every fucking time. A golden series. And 4 books, after I read the first 2, I was like, that's, how much more can they do? Like, I feel like it's gonna get a little bit boring. Like, I worry, but it does not get boring. It's the cutest fucking thing every time you've seen it. 2 more mini sections, and that'll be the end of the video, because there's one, the last mini section is gonna be its own video after I talk about it briefly here. Andrew Joseph White. This is the fangirl section of the video. I'm obsessed with him. My favorite author is Holly Black, and my favorite book of all time is Tithe by Holly Black. Andrew Joseph White is fighting his way to the top of my favorite author list. He is fighting his way to the top. I read Hell Followed With Us shortly after it came out, maybe like 6 months after, and I was obsessed with it. It's one of those books that you finish reading it and you're like, I think I'm realizing some things about myself that I didn't recognize before, because I read Hell Followed With Us and I Wish You All the Best back to back. And I think I had like heard of The Spirit Bares Its Teeth, but like hadn't like looked too much into it. Like, to be fair, like, you know, I was working in retail and I was having depressive episodes, and I was also like getting back into K-pop. My brain had a lot going on, sensory overload. But recently, I've read Compound Fracture and The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. Which one came out first? Is that the order they came out in recently, or did The Spirit Bares Its Teeth come out first and then it was Compound Fracture? But anyway, I read Compound Fracture first, and that, he does it intentionally. He has to. He's an author. He must do it with intention. Compound Fracture is so, regardless of it being a fantastic story with like slightly supernatural elements to it, Compound Fracture is so fucking topical for like the state of the world, and especially red states that people shit on and are absolutely horrible to, when the majority of the populations in red states, and for pretty much all of the red states, are people that are the most negatively impacted by the government. Right? So incredibly topical for like what's happening in the world. And I don't know the timeline between when he wrote the book versus like when it came out. I don't know if it was like he could read the writing on the wall. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure he's answered that question in interviews and things before. But Compound Fracture was fucking incredible. I finished reading it, and once again, it was one of those books that you finish reading it and you're like, what am I supposed to do now with this knowledge of the person that I now am compared to the person I was before? That kind of good. He's incredible. Compound Fracture, I think, was my favorite of the 3 that he has currently published. Does he have more? Am I dumb? Does he have more? I'm also incredibly excited for the one that is going to be coming out. I know it's going to gross me the fuck out, but I'm so excited. Compound Fracture, I would say, out of the 3 that he has out that I know of, is probably the quote-unquote least gross when it's like graphics and like things that happen to characters. So if you want to read Compound Fracture first and feel like a little bit more comfortable, I would read Compound Fracture first. I'm going to do a spoiler really quick. I'm going to do a spoiler super quick. I'll put a timestamp on like how long the spoiler lasts right down here, because I need to talk about something. When Miles walks up to the ghost of Saint and says, like, I wanted to name myself after you, and the scene where Miles figures out that, oh my god, I can't remember his name, but the minor, the other minor in the picture with Saint and Lucille is Saint's lover, and Lucille is like Saint's child. When I tell you, I bawled my fucking eyes out. How am I supposed to live like that? How am I supposed to live? How am I supposed to survive when you do things like that to me, Andrew? Andrew, I'm obsessed with you. You're fantastic. And then pretty much, what day is it? Like 3 or 4 days ago, I finished The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. I started The Spirit Bares Its Teeth like weeks ago. But I got to a certain point in the book that feels a little too aggressively topical for women in this country currently. And like, not to sound like a white woman, because like obviously these horrible, disgusting, like handmaid tale terrible things have been happening to women of color in this country since like the dawn of this fucking country, since the dawn of the world, but the dawn of this fucking country. But like, now as a white woman, it feels like scarier for me. Like, I've been terrified the whole time, but you get what I'm saying. As a white woman, now it's like more real that these things are going to happen to me. You get what I mean? Anyway, it felt a little too topical for like what is happening to women and what is probably going to happen to women in this country, what has happened to women. So I got like, I was reading it at night too, which was like my own fault. I got like a little like, ooh, uncomfortable. So I put it down, and then it's due, I think the book is due the day that this video goes out. It has been returned already. I returned it I returned it on Saturday. But I think it's due. It would have been due the day that this video goes up. But I finished The Spirit Bares Its Teeth, and I love, the thing is, the like horror and the graphics of it were like already bad enough, but then just like the reality, the parts of the book that are like, this is real life, as opposed to these supernatural elements, like this is a real life thing. After everything else has happened in the book and you think that like everybody's in the clear, I was fucking nauseous. I was nauseous, but not in a like bad way, in a holy shit, you're such a good writer way. So if you have not read anything by Andrew Joseph White and you're not a huge piece of shit and you want to read about trans autistic characters being fucking fantastic, read them. Read all three. They're so fucking good. I had a gap in between my reading of the three of them. Read them back to back. Maybe take care of yourself if you're reading The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. That one's a little extra, like, ooh. And the last book I want to talk about, like what I've been reading lately, is a book called My Funny Demon Valentine by Aurora Asher. I have her name memorized specifically because I have been looking into her other books. Now, how much do I want to say? Because I'm going to talk about this book in its own video. Not specifically this book, but this book is a very specific genre. So I'm going to have a separate video. It's going to come out next week, and it is genuinely going to come out next week. I have this planned in my planner. I moved the sorting photo card video because of this video that's going to come out next week. It's a very specific genre that I'm going to have like my own kind of like opinion, think piece thing of it. Not really. It's not fucking that deep. It's not a think piece. Do whatever the fuck you want. You can read whatever you want. I'm not here to fucking, I'm not the reading police. I may be a librarian, but I'm not the reading police. Just don't bring my books back damaged. You know what? If at this point, if you return them like a year later, at least you're returning them. Just don't bring them back damaged as best you can. You know what I mean? As best you can. That's my only gripe as a librarian. Just fucking handle them nicely, please. And don't steal them. If you want to like pay for it, I don't know. Anyway, don't steal books and don't damage them as best you can. I understand with children it's a little more difficult, but as best you can, please don't damage books and don't steal them from the library. Steal them from like big business. If you're really going to go to Target and steal a fucking book. You know what I mean? But My Funny Demon Valentine, I will express more in the video next week, but I actually ended up enjoying it much more than I thought I was going to. That's what I'm going to say, because it's going to be, it's not specifically about the book, but the video next week is like kind of centered around the book. So I'm not going to say anything except for I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and I am not a romance girly. That's all I'm going to say. What are they calling it now on Book Talk? Romantasy? I have some beef with Book Talk. Anyway. So that's what I've been reading lately. I don't know. I just thought that would be kind of like a fun, silly video. There's a couple of videos again, the one next week and the one after, that are kind of focused around books. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's make this a book month. Except for, actually, no, it does tie in with the video from last week because it's talking about physical media. And I did say that there were some books that I do regret getting rid of, even if it was just to be like, this book is fucking nuts. I don't recommend reading it, but this is the title of it and it's fucking bizarre. You feel me? So, yeah, that was this video. Longer than I thought it was going to be. Why do I say that, even though I know I yap every fucking video? But while we're here, while I still have you, don't forget our Palestinian family, Rami's family, whose final goal is 75K. But if we can get them bite-sized goals, everybody here, $5, if you can only do it every other week when you get paid, anything is going to be helpful to help them pay for resources, any resources that are available in Palestine at all, which could be little to nothing at this point. We don't know. There's no aid trucks going through, and electricity and water are being cut off by Israel. Again, let's go into the realm of insanity where everything Israel and Israelis are saying is correct. Why would you need to cut off their food and water, or their electricity and water, and their aid? Why would you need to cut those off if they were the villains? Why wouldn't they cut your stuff off? Riddle me this. Anyway, we also have Sajud's family. Same thing. Their final goal is $113,390. That is the goal, to ideally evacuate Sajud and all of her family members. I believe she has 10 to 12 family members that she is trying to evacuate. However, if all of the borders are closed, if people are not allowed to escape, if aid is not allowed to get in, any money that we can donate, $5 minimum, everybody here plus me, will help them get any resources whatsoever. Again, you think the inflation in the United States is about to get fucking bad? Imagine what they're dealing with. Right? So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget about our Palestinian families. And don't forget, Mahmoud Khalil has been kidnapped by the United States government. If you think the government wouldn't do that, oh yes, they would. Oh yes, they fucking would. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!